How y'all doing? April 1st, 1983 was the first time I ever paused to take a breath and think about what it meant to change my story. I was standing in a field with several hundred other young men and women waiting to be commissioned as a second lieutenant in the United States Air Force. And as I stood there, I thought back about the path that brought me there. In particular, I started with 28 years before, on another April, where a 20-year-old woman, Laura Walker, high school dropout, became pregnant by her 29-year-old boyfriend. They did the right thing. They went down to the courthouse and got a marriage license and got married by the Justice of the Peace, and 9 months later I was born. Before I had a chance to even understand who I was or know who I was or know my parents, my mom and dad got a divorce and my mother took me and married a gentleman by the name of Eddie. I can remember like it was yesterday how I found out that Eddie wasn't my dad. My folks were arguing. I was probably 7, 8 years old. They were arguing and rather violently. And I got scared and I went up and wrapped my arms around my daddy's leg. And my mom looked at me and said, "I don't know why you went over to him. He's not your dad." I was crushed. I was crushed. But it got worse. The next year, my mom decided that it would be a good idea for me and my younger brother and sister to go to our grandparents' house for Christmas, Eddie's parents. So we went there Christmas Eve, and we're kids, we're talking about, what's Santa going to get you? I think I'm going to get this, and on into the late hours of the night. And then the next morning, we ran down to the living room to see what Santa Claus had brought. And I sat there and watched Roger and Mary open present after present after present. And I learned that day that I wasn't part of the family. I spent the next several years till I was 18 years old, moving from family member to family member, my brothers and sisters and I, until eventually my mother had been married 3 times. I was the oldest of 7 children. When I was a senior in high school, I had gone at that time to 17 different schools. We had moved around that much. I turned 18 in January, and that month I was signing up for my 3rd school that year. They told me I'd have to take the whole year over again, even if I took my classes. I quit. I just gave up. I said, that's enough, and I left. And because I was 18 and because I was no longer in school, my parents did what every parent does. They took me down to the local welfare office to sign up for benefits. And then I knew I just had to go. I took off, wound up in the Army, spent 3 years in the Army. After the Army, I went to a Bible college, Midwestern Baptist College, for a year and a half, and then I quit that. And I just knew I was a loser, I was a quitter, I was nothing. I had no right to even think I could be anything. But then something snapped inside of me, and I says, no, I can be somebody, and I'm going to prove it. I went down to the local university, and I decided I'm going to get a college degree and prove to myself and prove to others that I can be somebody. So I went to the lady at the registration. I said, I want to sign up for college, and she says, what's your major? I said, I don't have a major. She said, well, you got to pick one. So she handed me a catalog, and I'm thumbing through it, and I'm thinking, I need something that's hard. I need something that's a challenge. I need something that's going to prove that if I can do this, I can do anything. Physics. That sounded hard. I had no idea what it was, but it sounded incredibly difficult. So I said, I want to get a degree in physics. Do you know that you have to be good at math to get a degree in physics? I didn't know that. They gave me a math placement test. You got to start off with calculus with your freshman physics class. I had to take Algebra 1, Algebra 2, Analytic Function, Trigonometry, 4 semesters, 2 years of math before I could even start my physics degree. Roadblock number 1. Roadblock number 2. Remember, I'd gone to Bible college for a year and a half. I sent my transcripts over, and it was not accredited. Every single class I had to take all over again. Roadblock number 2. At the time, I had a wife and 2 children. I had to support them. You have one of them right there. I worked in a factory 40 hours a week, second shift. Roadblock number 3. But I determined that no one, no thing, no circumstance was going to stop me from accomplishing my goal. I was going to do it. Not only did I get my degree in physics, but I dominated. I finished the degree, the 4-year degree, I finished it in 3 years. and I graduated at the top of my class. Now, since then, that was like 30 years ago. I've changed my story twice since then, and I'm getting ready to change my story in a couple of months one more time. But in changing my story, I've earned 5 degrees, including 2 masters and a doctorate, in things as far apart as physics, aerospace engineering, astronautical engineering, and theology. I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up. I had one of the largest martial arts schools in Southern California, which turned into a very successful chain of martial arts schools around the country. I was a professor at the United States Naval Academy. Boy, if they knew where I came from, they would have been scared to leave me with their cadets. I took a 44-foot sailboat and sailed from Annapolis to Bermuda and back. I ran a very successful aerospace software engineering consulting firm. I've written 7 books. One of them, like Robin said, the #1 international bestseller. Me. I flunked English in high school. I am, this blows me away to say this doesn't even sound real when I say it, I'm a millionaire. I'm worth, this morning I checked, I'm worth $1.42 million. Wow. That just blows me away. I own, like Robin said, 4 investment companies. I'm getting ready to start another one with 2 of my best friends. I own a foundation that goes around the world and helps pastors grow their churches in third world countries. And the most significant accomplishment I've had in my life, the thing I'm most proud of, the thing that just makes me cry with joy every night, is the fact that I raised 4 highly motivated, highly successful women. And Robin Sternpeck is one of them. I got 3 more at home. And they're just taking on the world. In 1 Corinthians 14, the Apostle Paul says that the job of a New Testament prophet is to pull out the secret treasure from your heart. I think that's such a cool thing to be able to do. Pull out that secret treasure. Eric had you write 3 things down at the end of his talk just now. And then when Robin came up, she wanted you to circle one of them. What I would like you to do is think about making that your treasure, the one that you're going to go for first. The one that you're going to say, wow, physics, that looks hard. All right? But what I want to encourage you, before you put your head on the pillow tonight, to think about how you're going to take that very first step. How you're going to go and change your story, change your life, change your destiny. Because you can be anything you want to be. You were put on this earth for